This is the 4-event in-season circuit. These girls are getting ready for Championships USA, and we do warm-up compete. So we are trying to simulate doing 4 events prior to actually training, or which would be competition at championships. So we're going to start off with running drills, and I'm going to modify everything so that the video does not take forever. So they would normally do 5 minutes of running drills. We're just going to warm up here with 2 laps around the floor. I always like to have a designated leader. I like to also take turns with the leader so that they all learn to be leaders. The next part of the circuit, if you follow along, is sprints on the vault runway. Normally we do 4 sprints back and forth on the runway. Then they go right over to the boards and they do tight body board bounces, arms over their head. Next is front to back handsprings for vaulting. And this is a drill so that they work on keeping their hips open on the front and on the back. And then they do their actual vault, whatever their vault is going to be. They warm up the timer from the tumble track into the resi pit. And we finish with leg lifts over at the rack. I also try to incorporate a lot of the physical abilities into the circuit just because that's what their bodies are used to for warm-ups. Full leg lifts. Then following Olympic order, we go from vault over to bars. And they begin with levers on the bars. Working right away on getting the body in the right shape for swinging. Next is the cast handstands. And like I said, we're doing very modified numbers so that we can get through. This is normally a 10 cast a handstand, and we're just going to do a couple cast a handstand lockouts. Then we come over to the floor rail. And I want to point out that these girls come in the gym at 7 a.m. in the summer. And when they come in, the first thing they do is they set up for the circuit. Everything is always preset. Then we have handstand holds, followed by handstand half pirouettes, followed by handstand full pirouettes. And they normally have 5 of each of these. Then we go back over to the bars. And we have 5 around the world's right, 5 to the left. We'll just do 2 right now. Full range of motion on the around the world. And then over to the resi pit, or any raised surface where we do the jump to candles. Purpose here obviously is for the bar dismounts. The girls start the arms at front middle and turn upside down with very little arm swing, working their hips to turn upside down. Then we go over to the beam and we start with beam jumps. I love beam jumps. I know they do too. And we're just going to do 2. Normally we do 4 of these. Then everybody jumps up onto a beam. And right away they do an arm set, their optional beam routine. And I want to remind you that what I'm trying to do is simulate as close as I can to a feeling of warming up for, competing for, since we don't hardly ever train that way, yet we have to compete that way. And from there, we go right to our straight jumps. Connected, we do a set of 10, trying to get air time, straight bodies, getting the mind connected. Next, we go on to our switch leap drills. Then we add a hop. Disciplined arms are in opposition. Then we do our quarter turns. So all of the basic elements for beam have been done. Then they do handstand step-ins and handstand lunges. All of this are the basics I use in a complex because these are the basics for a routine. And after the step-ins, they go right to the lunges for the finished positions. And then we go under the beam to finish with a nice tight stomach exercise. We do the V-ups under the beam. Normally we do a set of 20 of these. And that's for the quickness of the dismount at the end of the routine. Then we come over to floor. And we do press handstands. Always like to use either a floor rail, pirouettes, or the balance beam to do the press handstands, just to save the wrists. And after the press handstands, all the girls go out to the floor. They go into their starting position of their floor routine. And everybody does a sprint set. The mind and the body are feeling 4 events. Competition order. And then after they finish this, for endurance or fitness, as we call it, we do 10 standing backs. And these are connected, again, for quickness. Just do 3 of those. And then we go over to the rope. We have a very, very quick rope climb while somebody else is getting onto the trampoline to get the 10 connected layouts. I love these connected layouts because they work on body shape and learning how to rotate from the bottom without any use of your shoulders except to set yourself up. And then we finish over on the floor, back to the parallettes, with a 1-minute handstand hold. This is always a challenge when you're winded, but of course it makes the handstand position stronger. And then we start the national team warm-up.